Whether it's on our phones, in the books we read, or on websites, we are constantly digesting the written word. If you take a moment and look around you right now, you're going to see that type is everywhere. The human race often reflects on the power of the written word, but they rarely consider the designer's role in emulating the tone of the words or sentences through design. Behind the scenes, a designer works to consider the relationship between the look of the text and what the text itself actually says. In reality, moods, atmospheres, and emotions can all be expressed by a designer through the typeface that they choose. But what exactly is typography, and why is it so vital for a graphic designer to understand? In this course, we'll be lifting the lid on everything you need to know regarding typography. Let's start with defining what actually is typography. In essence, typography is the art of arranging letters and text in a way that makes the copy legible, clear, and visually appealing to the reader. Typography involves font style, appearance, and structure, which aims to elicit certain emotions and convey specific messages. So in short, typography is what brings the text to life. Now, I'm sure it is no surprise to you that typography, as we know it today, evolved from handwritten letter forms. Now, these letter forms started with clay tablets and chisels, and then moved on to brush pens and reed pens with paper. The ancient Greeks drew capital letter forms based on simple geometric shapes such as the square, the triangle, and the circle. Now, these shapes are the foundation of all letter form design even today. Drawing only in capital letters, it minimized the use of curves since curves were very difficult to cut into clay. Now, when the ancient Romans came along, they perfected what's called the reed pen and how to use it to create letter forms by tipping the pen at an angle. Now, this angle is called the cant, and it produces thick and thin strokes in letter forms. Think of calligraphy today. Now, because they were not chiseling into clay anymore, the Romans created lowercase versions of the letters. These curved strokes could be written quicker and were used to reduce the number of strokes needed to write many letter forms. The capital letter A takes 3 strokes to create, however, the lowercase a only takes 2 strokes. So as you see, it's more efficient for the artist. Now, somewhere between 700 and 1100 AD, Emperor Charlemagne mandated that there should be some kind of uniform letter forms to be used on all official documents. So the Caroline minuscules became the standard. At that time, scribes had to learn and perfect the letter forms to look the same from one artist to another. Now, I don't know about you, but I am very grateful I have a computer that does that for me today. Moving on, in 1439, Johannes Gutenberg invented a printing press that used movable type concepts from other cultures, along with the idea of alloy type forging to mass-produce documents. His press became the most important invention of the second millennium. You probably already know this, but his most produced piece was the Bible. Prior to this, the only way to have a book was to purchase a hand-scribed copy produced by monks. These monks sat down and hand-copied the manuscripts letter by letter to reproduce the works. As you can imagine, these books were very expensive and reading was limited to a privileged few. With Gutenberg's press, information was easily distributed and shared at a faster pace and for less money to the consumer. It is estimated that there were less than 30,000 books in all of Europe before Gutenberg's press. Less than 50 years later, that number climbed to 12 million. Gutenberg went on to print the Bible in Latin, German, French, and ancient Greek. This meant people around the world could purchase the book for themselves and know what was really in it. They say without Gutenberg, the Protestant Reformation would not have occurred. Fun fact, the style of type used in the Gutenberg Bible is now known as textura, and you can find it on most of your drop-down menus inside of major desktop applications today. Fast forward to modern day, where typography is mostly associated with both the print and the digital world, we can thank the personal computer for the explosion of what we know as typography today. Today, graphic designers have an abundance of fonts and type options at their disposal, making typography more visually diverse than ever before. But you'll find that typography isn't always a playful tool for graphic designers. Sometimes it's used in significant ways to protect consumers. In the next video, you're going to hear from award-winning designer Deborah Adler regarding how she saw a problem and used typography to solve it.